Hi everyone, welcome back for part 2. Let's dive straight into the verse. Lots of open chords, just 1 or 2 bar chords in there, but still you get that lovely melody. As always, one time through the whole thing. Here we go. That to me is already a repeat of the verse, or you can see it as a double verse. But we're going to have a look at these first 8 bars really quickly. Start out in a C chord. You just arpeggiate from the A string all the way down to the B string, and you pick that note twice, first fret on the B string. And then you hammer on to the 3rd fret with the pinky and head for an open E string. Pinky, 3rd fret on the high E string, ring finger, 3rd fret on the B string, index finger, 2nd fret on the A string, giving you a G chord with a B in the bass. Melody. So just picking that melody note in front of the beat again, make sure that it rings out. 3, 4. And then you just arpeggiate A string, open D string, open G string, B string, holding down the 3rd fret. Same arpeggio, A string, D string, G string, and then you release the index finger, open A string, and we're going to be moving to a B flat, 1st fret on the A string. And you'll see, maybe I'll just touch on this really quickly, that the song is built up around a chromatic bass line. So the bass line is going to be 3rd fret C, 2nd fret B, 1st fret B flat, open A string, A flat, 4th fret, 3rd fret G. So it's just always the bass line keeps going down chromatically. So that might be something useful if you want to memorize the song. You know, you always have to drop down the bass line 1 fret. One more time. Index finger, 1st fret, ring finger, 2nd fret on the D string, open G string, and then the middle finger, 1st fret on the B string. And again, you're going to have to hammer on while holding everything down with the pinky to the 3rd fret. So this is a bit of a tricky chord voicing, but it is doable. So one more time, those first 2 bars. This time, no melody note that has to ring across the bar line, just switching to the chord, arpeggiating A string, D string, G string, B string, bass note, and then after that bass note, you're going to hammer on to the 3rd fret. And this might take a bit of work in the beginning, but it's all 8th notes. If you count along, 1 and 2 and 3 and. So time out that hammer on exactly right. It's not just as quickly as you can get it. Strict 8th notes if you count the 1st and the 2nd voice together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 to an open E string on top. And then we switch to an F chord. 3rd fret, ring finger on the D string, 2nd fret, middle finger on the G string, small bar across 2 strings, 1st fret, B string, and E string, and an A in the bass, so F over A. Now I do have to admit that this arpeggio is a bit strange. It also pops up only 1 time. Maybe it was something unintentional and they left it in, because the next time Tommy will just arpeggiate through the chord again. What he's doing now is that chord in front of the beat, 3 and 4 and 1, repicking the bass note, and then 2 times the thumb on the 3rd fret on the D string. 3 and 4 and for the rest of the song, it's always just an arpeggio across that chord shape that you're playing there. So again, if this is something that you easily forget, it will sound fine if you just play the arpeggio. 3 and 4 and you just end that back up with an arpeggio, A string, D string, G string, open E string, which sounds a little bit odd, but this open E string, again, is going to give you the time to switch to the next chord, which is that 1 bar chord in this section of the tune. So you need that extra time with that open E string. Before we head there, let me play those first 4 bars all the way through. Open E string and then bar. It's not a full bar. Basically only need 4 strings. On the 1st fret, D string, G string, B string, E string. Pinky, 4th fret on the low E string. You're going to have to hammer on with the ring finger to the 3rd fret, to the 3rd fret on the G string. This is how it goes. First 2 beats, bass note, then plucking the D string and G string at the same time, holding down the bar on the 1st fret and hammering on to the 3rd fret on the G string. And then B string separately. Bass note, high E string, D string, and then a double stop on the high E string and B string. Really short, that last one, because we're going to switch to the next chord. And this is the only part in the whole song where Tommy doesn't carry that melody note across the bar line. He really cuts it short in the original recording too. This section with that big bar chord is a matter of building strength. It's not a stretch, it's just 1 finger per fret, so it should be playable in a good playing posture, but that pinky up there is probably going to ask some time to build up the necessary strength. If you feel that you're going to cramp up, stop before it actually happens. So there is no merit in having the hand cramp up. It doesn't build strength. On the contrary, if you feel it coming up, stop and try it again the next day. Use that quick double stop on there to switch with the ring finger to the 3rd fret on the low E string. And you might expect a G chord, but it's actually a C chord with a G in the bass. So you're going to need index finger 1st fret on the B string, middle finger 2nd fret on the D string, ring finger 3rd fret on the low E string. C chord with G in the bass. Just bass note, double stop on the high E and B string, 1st fret open string, D string, holding down the 2nd fret, and then one of those really typical Tommy Emmanuel slides, 4th fret with the pinky, quickly sliding down to the 3rd fret. Something that he does all the time. 3, 4. And it sort of is leaning sideways with the pinky and then pulling it back in really quickly. If it doesn't work, just play the 3rd fret or maybe even play a hammer-on. Works as well. If you want an embellishment but that slide with the pinky is tricky, then you can play a hammer-on from the 1st fret too. 3, 4. Same slide 2 times in a row, so really slowly. Bass note, 1st fret, releasing the pinky on the B string, and then the same slide back from the 4th fret to the 3rd fret. Now this has to ring out across the bar line into the next bar. So make sure that you keep that pinky down and that it doesn't mute when you switch to the next chord. Those 2 bars back to back. You let that ring out. This is a quarter note all the way at the end, so it rings out twice as long as anything else up until now. And then you fret thumb over the side of the neck, 2nd fret, F sharp, middle finger 2nd fret on the G string, giving you D over F sharp. Again, we're going to look at an alternative for that thumb in just a second. This is the full bar. Just arpeggiating E string and G string together, and then D string, G string, B string, back to the low E string, back to the G string, and then Tommy drops out the pinky and switches to the index finger, 1st fret on the B string for a double stop 2 times in a row, the exact same thing. Switching to the 3rd fret on the low E string while that double stop rings out to the 3rd fret. Again, this is possible without the thumb. It's a little less efficient. So you have that pinky from the last bar. And then you end back up with the pinky on that 3rd fret, which makes the switch to the next chord a little bit trickier. You could also try only playing a single note all the way at the end instead of the double stop, and then you can switch to the ring finger for the low G bass note, 3rd fret on the E string. Otherwise, the next chord shape, if you end up with the pinky here, the next chord is going to be really tricky to pull off. So one more time with the thumb. Because you need the ring finger and the pinky on the 3rd fret on the low E string and the high E string. If you do it with the middle finger, this is the only real option, I think. Leaving out the double stop, only playing the B string, 1st fret, leaving the ring finger open to switch to the bass note. Then one more thing heading into this bar. In the previous bar, this last note is a quarter note, a full beat. So make sure you don't connect the chord, the D over F sharp, too quickly. I'm going to count along one time. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. See, so there is a little bit more room than usual in this bar. Then we close that down with a G chord. We let that double stop ring out. Low E string 3rd fret, high E string 3rd fret, ring finger pinky. And then we let go of the middle finger and index finger and we just play D string, G string, B string. We switch over the middle finger immediately to the 2nd fret on the A string and we're going to launch into the repeat of the chorus. Whatever string you arpeggiate after that doesn't really matter. Tommy plays this on the original recording. A string, high E string, G string, and then hammer on from an open A string to the 2nd fret, leading back into a C chord repeat of the verse. One more time, that last bar, 3 and 4 and back into the C chord. That was the full verse. Let me play those last 4 bars one more time. The The next part, maybe one more time with the alternative. No thumb over the side of the neck. No thumb, no double stop. And now that I'm playing through it, what I probably would do is you go through that chord, no double stop, and then when I repick, I am going to add the middle finger, sort of to return to the original version. So, no double stop, adding the double stop to the open strings. That was the full verse. Maybe one more time, all the way through those 8 bars. And the good news is, if you can play the intro and you can play this, you can almost play, I think, 75% of the song. There's just the chorus to get through, and it's not much trickier than what we already learned. But before we head there, first, one more time, the verse. And straight into the next verse. Only a few minor variations in that next verse. So we'll take a look at that as we head into the first chorus in the next part of the tutorial. I'll see you there.